Hello, 11th and 12th grade students. This is the course selection video for environmental science. I am Mr. Jones, and with me is
I'm
Mr.
Mr. Gann.
And we are the two teachers that teach this course at Monte Vista. So we're just going to kind of give you a very brief overview of the course. But of course, if you have questions, you can always email us at the email addresses you see right there on the screen. All right, Mr. Gann, you want to start us off?
Thank you, Mr. Jones. So yeah, AP Environmental Science, also known as APES, is one of those fast-paced college-level courses that focuses on real-world problems, environmental problems, with their potential solutions. This class is appropriate for any 11th or 12th grade student who have already taken and completed biology. 2 years of science is recommended, but not necessarily required. When it comes to apes, you can expect to do a lot of independent study. Is definitely helpful to be successful in this class. And in terms of homework, you can maybe expect about 4 to 5 hours of homework per week.
All right. So let's look a little bit at sort of the overview of the course. So APES is one of the most interdisciplinary courses on the campus, especially of the sciences, because it includes such a broad variety of topics. And so we've just listed a few different topics that we touch on throughout the year and go into some detail, but not like a crazy amount of detail. The reason why I think it's kind of good to kind of show this is just to give you a sense of the variety of different kinds of topics that if you're interested in anything in particular, you can always find a connection to the class. So if you're somebody who's much more into like the hard sciences, you can find connections to things like chemistry and physics. But if you're more into like social sciences and things like that, there's history and politics and ethics and economics and all these different things involved because APES is such a broad category. So just to kind of give you a sense, there's a lot of different avenues to access the class.
And to build off of what Mr. Jones said about APES being an interdisciplinary course, there's often a lot of complex real-world solutions that we'll be discussing in APES that that simply defy a simple solution. And so it's really cool to be in APES because we'll be able to touch upon many different problems that we're seeing today in our environment. So this is not limited to global climate change, various environmental disasters. We'll talk about population growth as well as like the impacts of that, as well as touching upon smaller subjects such as water quality, food quality, or air pollution, as well as being able to do some labs surrounded about like designing sustainable cities and innovations in energy and transportation.
And just to kind of give you a little bit of some case studies that we will touch on throughout the year, you can kind of see these are both international and national and local. So we kind of spread out our case studies across the entire world. We look at smog in particular in places like India and China that are having to deal with these kinds of things. Water pollution in rivers like the Ganges. We'll talk briefly about the Fukushima nuclear power plant failure. We do talk about electronic waste, which is one of the biggest waste issues we have. And then at a local level, we spent a little bit of time looking at some of the California's issues regarding droughts, wildfires, and water rights. So we kind of spread our net pretty wide and try and hit on as many of these real world case studies as we can.
Yeah, and the main focus when it comes to APES is to learn about those problems, to try to understand potential solutions, and understanding the importance of it, and the importance of protecting our biodiversity in our ecosystems around us. This is because those biological systems, those ecosystems provide so much to humans, and we benefit, great amounts from it, whether this means like receiving food from the environment, developing medicines, having clean water or clean air, and even such things as aesthetic and emotional value. And so we really focus on the importance of, the environment and biodiversity, and how if we don't begin to work on solving these problems, our world is only going to continue changing, which means those services that we gain from it are only going to be reduced more and more. So it's a big focus across our whole year in APES.
Yeah. So with that being said, just to kind of wrap this short video up, if you have any questions, feel free to email us. Our email addresses are right there. We'll be more than glad to answer your questions. But we highly recommend the course. We find that it's one of the most real world applied courses where you're going to hear a lot about the topics that we cover in the news and from other people. So a lot of relevant stuff here, pretty fun, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, come take APES.
All right, everybody. We'll see you in APES. Bye.